What is up, guys? So in this video, I'm gonna explain to you how to bet on sports full-time and also travel. So how to manage sports betting while traveling. So my name's Alex. If you're new to this channel, what's up, guys? I've been a very serious sports bettor for about 7 years now, and I've made over $170,000 in tracked verified profit. I give out basically all my plays 100% for free on either Twitter or also Twitch live stream. But I've also lived in a ton of different locations. So as an example, when I started gambling, I had a full-time job. I was living in Pennsylvania. Now I currently live in Virginia. I'm back at home. I used to live in Arizona though when I first started to take my sports betting really seriously. So I've lived a bunch of different places, and that's what's really awesome about sports betting is now legal to do online, right? You don't need to live next to a casino. You can do everything on your phone or on your laptop. As long as you have Wi-Fi and a few sportsbook accounts, you're well on your way to making money. So what I wanted to mention, first of all, is why would you even want to travel as a sports bettor? So I'll give you a simple example. Is when I started gambling, I was in Pennsylvania. Two of the first few states to legalize online sports betting were Pennsylvania and New Jersey. So I was maybe like a 20-30 minute drive from New Jersey. And somebody from one of my colleagues at work was like, yo, there's a lot of sports books. Alex, I know you really love this nerdy sports betting stuff. There's a lot of online books that are legal in New Jersey that aren't legal in Pennsylvania. So I used to spend my entire weekend, I would literally drive from Pennsylvania to New Jersey to bet on those sports books if they were exploitable, but mainly to take advantage of sign-up bonuses. Okay, so sportsbooks are all in ruthless competition for new customers, so they run sign-up bonuses, deposit matches, insured bets, stuff like that, right? Books basically give away free money, and I've made a YouTube tutorial, and initially when I made this video, granted bonuses are always changing, but when I made this video, if you traveled to every state with legal online sports betting and did the sign-up bonus in a mathematically optimal way, you would make over $18,000 in risk-free profit. So if you understand how to maximize these bonuses and you're using a bunch of books, you can make a lot of money. That's one reason that traveling is a pro when you're sports betting. So I still had my full-time job when Colorado legalized online gambling. Once that happened, I saw that Sports Illustrated Sportsbook, they had a $7,500 risk-free bet, which is absolutely insane, okay? I made a video, you can see the thumbnail here, I'll also link to it. So I literally flew to Colorado solely to take advantage of this sign-up bonus. But basically, if you lose your first bet, they give you your money back. So if you think about it, that's absolutely insane, right? Like usually if you lose $7,500, it's gone. But in this scenario, if you lose your first bet, they give you a full refund up to $7,500. I made over like $6,000 solely going to Colorado to take advantage of these bookmaker offers, these sportsbook sign-up bonuses. So I'm dead serious. If you don't have an in-person job, if you work remotely, or if you're in college, get some of your friends together. You can DM me on Twitter with any questions. Literally travel to every single state that has online sports books, online sports betting. Take advantage of every sportsbook sign-up bonus, and you will make tens of thousands of dollars, and you'll also have a pretty fun road trip. In terms of traveling while sports betting, there's a couple other things that I think are important or useful to mention. So usually when I'm on the East Coast, I'm waking up later, right? On the West Coast, college football games start at 9 a.m. Pacific time. 9 a.m., which means I need to be up at 6 a.m. looking for profitable bets, which means I need to go to bed early on a Friday night. So I know that's a little extreme. Obviously, I'm not up every Saturday morning at 7 a.m. to look for bets, but usually, right, I really try to, shift my sleep schedule. Like when I'm on the West Coast, I go to bed earlier, I get up earlier, because oftentimes the best bets period are during college football season when there's a ton of games around 7 a.m. when the market's moving. There's a ton of line movement. All the games are about to start. That's one of the best times to find arbitrage and positive EV bets. So, I try to wake up as early as possible. If you want to maximize your profit sports betting, you kind of need to rearrange your life. Another thing to mention is I would never live in Nevada. Nevada is the only state that has basically no online sports books. There's no FanDuel, there's no Prize Picks, there's no Rebet, Flip, there's no fantasy sites, there's really no online sports books. So I'm never gonna live in Las Vegas. I love Las Vegas because I love gambling in many ways, but it's literally the worst state for online sports betting, which is a little surprising. So I specifically try to avoid going to Las Vegas. The other thing I wanted to mention that's really nice, again, is OddsJam, right? I just explained that I love arbitrage betting. You can see reviews from Twitter here of, people who use OddsJam for arbitrage betting. Arbitrage is a risk-free profit betting strategy. So arbitrage is really simple. All sportsbooks set their own unique odds. You can see an example here and the math behind it. It doesn't matter what happens, this guy's making a risk-free profit. So you're basically day trading discrepancies between books. When two sports books get super out of sync, you can hedge for a guaranteed profit. You can bet equal and opposite outcomes on two books to ensure a profit. That is all that arbitrage betting is, and that's how I started sports betting. And what I was gonna say is on OddsJam, if you're traveling, if you're at the airport, if you're on the move, you can set up alerts for EV bets, for arbitrage bets. So OddsJam will basically just send you a push notification, an alert whenever there's a profitable arbitrage bet for the books you're using. But I kind of wanted to take you through very briefly, just kind of whenever I'm traveling to a new state, I'll do a little screen share. The first things I do and the first things, that I think are important to do if you want to maximize your profits gambling while you're traveling. So here you can see my OddsJam account in my home state of Virginia, right? And again, you can update this to whatever sportsbook that you're located in. Here I can see all sportsbooks available. I can filter in the ones I want to see, the ones I don't want to see. So here's a crossed market EV bet. You can see Flip is offering really good value. I just played this. Stevenson touchdown at plus 210. Average price in the market is plus 163. This is also arbitrage to no vig, so the market is crossed. So I could bet the over on Flip if I wanted to. I could hedge on no vig, play as under, and make a risk-free profit. So one of these two plays has to be profitable because the market's crossed. It's kind of like if you could buy a stock at 205 on Fidelity and then sell it at $210 on E-Trade. It would be like, okay, one of those trades has to be good. But basically, whenever I go to a new state, so let's say, for example, you come to Virginia, which you guys should. It's one of the best states for online sports betting. Is typically what I do is I just see what sportsbook sign-up bonuses are available. So, for example, if you just come to Virginia, there's a ton of different books. So if you're coming from, let's say, Texas does not have Fanatics legal. So this is called the OddsJam Promo Finder. In Texas, there is no Fanatics, right? So long story short, you're not going to be, when you come to Virginia, you're going to be able to do this sign-up bonus. And the sign-up bonus is bet and get up to $1,000 in no sweat bets. So what does that mean, right? This is the easiest money you're ever going to make in a new state is just the sportsbook sign-up bonuses. So what this means is you bet $1,000, and if you lose, they will give you a refund in bonus bets. So what you can do basically is go to the OddsJam promo converter, put in Fanatics, right? Nope, I didn't do that right. You can put in Fanatics, no sweat bet, and this is for $1,000, and your lost bets, if you look at the terms, are refunded as bonus bets. So you may be thinking, yo, where are all the plays, Alex? And I assume that's because I currently have Fanatics filtered out. So if I go back here, I can refresh this. And basically what this is going to show me is if I wanted to convert this sign-up bonus into risk-free profit. So let me do select all leagues. Okay, we're good to go. What this essentially shows me is the best plays that I could lock in. And again, you can filter for the books you use. So if you don't use NoVig as an example, you can just filter it out on the promo converter. But basically what this shows you how to do, and we can try to find something, maybe like this play, it's a tennis play, is basically, even if you're in Virginia for just a couple days, this is telling you if you play the Fanatic sign-up bonus, you could turn this Fanatic sign-up bonus into $540 in risk-free profit. So you're taking this Fanatic sign-up bonus. Granted, you need a big enough of a bankroll, obviously, to be able to put in $1,000. But if you do this sign-up bonus and you have a big enough bankroll, even if you're just in Virginia for one day, to sign up for a sportsbook, you don't have to legally live in that sportsbook. You just need to be in that state. So if you did this Fanatic sign-up bonus, you would make $540 through hedging. So basically what you do is you bet the over on Fanatics. So you put your $1,000 no sweat bet. If you lose, you get your money back. You put your $1,000 no sweat bet on this over, and then you hedge and bet the under on DraftKings for $54.60. So 5.4K. Granted, that's a lot of money, but if you did this, you could essentially turn the Fanatic sign-up bonus into $540 in guaranteed risk-free profit. You can see the math here on the screen. Obviously, if you don't have enough of a big bankroll to, let's say, hedge with 5.4K, you can pick a play like this. So East Carolina minus 11.5 at plus 225, you put your $1,000 no sweat bet on that. On Hard Rock, which is another book in Virginia, you can hedge minus 230. You bet 1780, and regardless of what happens, you're making 470. So you're not making as much profit as the previous example, right? This is kind of sorted by what would convert your $1,000 risk-free bet or insured bet into the most amount of money. So sure, whatever, some of these are making less money, but also we don't know what the sportsbook's betting limits are going to be, and also I don't know how big your bankroll is. So when I first go to a state, I do the sign-up bonuses, but what I also like to do, so if you're first visiting Virginia, what I recommend doing is just checking the arbitrage and positive EV tool to just see, and granted, I do have some sportsbooks filtered out, but I try to see what sportsbooks have the most opportunity because I already want to have money in those accounts once I show up in Virginia, so I'm kind of, ready to go. So let's see here. So if I go back to the arbitrage tool, it's like, okay, BetMGM is showing up a lot, ProfitX, Bet105, Fanatics. So basically, I try to prioritize the books, first of all, offering the best sign-up bonuses like Fanatics. This is an amazing sign-up bonus and $1,000 insured bet that you can convert into like $500 approximately risk-free profit if you wanted to. And we have videos on that on the OddsJam YouTube. And then I check the arbitrage tool to just kind of see, okay, which books have the most opportunity so I can already load up money in them, right? So if you're leaving a state like, Texas, where you're using Prize Picks and you only have a few $1,000s to bet on sports, the first thing you should do is check for the sign-up bonuses, check what books have value, withdraw your money from Prize Picks in advance so it hits your account, and you can already have money ready to go in these Virginia sports books. You can already sign up for them. If you're in Texas, you can register for the Virginia sports books. You're just not going to be able to place a bet, right? To physically actually bet, do the sign-up bonus, bet these arbitrage plays, you need to be physically located in Virginia, right? They verify your location and everything, like every time you're on the app. So you can see there's a lot of opportunity on Fanatics, BetMGM, so get those accounts loaded up with money, learn about their sign-up bonuses, understand how to do these sign-up bonuses, and then once you get to the state, set up your notifications if you haven't already on OddsJam, start arbitrage betting, and go crazy.